Scott. Ask Scott.
Hi Scott, how you doing? Ken Fitzgerald here in Dublin, Ireland, and I was wondering when you're starting out, should you try and private label goods right from the outset, like your sample goods that you get in to sell? Should you private label them, or should you see if what sells and then make that decision afterwards? Thanks a million, Scott. Bye bye.
Hey, Ken, thank you so much for the question. And it's a great question because I get a lot of people that say, like, Scott, like, what if I don't want to go all in right off the bat? Maybe I just want to test out and validate this market or this product before I maybe customize it, or before I actually private label this product with my own brand name and logo and all that stuff. Like, I just want to test and validate, and it's totally possible to do that. And, I'd say, yeah, I would say do that if you can. And then from there, once you modify or you tweak the product, you can still keep the same listing as long as it's the same product. You're just modifying it. It's kind of like the new and improved. You would create two different variations. The variation would be like your test variation, and then your other variation would be the new modified version. And then you can choose to keep both or get rid of the one. So I think it's a great way to get started. And actually, I just interviewed a husband and wife team who did this, and that was episode 291. And they currently do that. They use AliExpress as kind of like their wholesaler, and then they test products. They do their product research. They follow a certain criteria that meets, like a low amount of reviews, still, a good number of sales, not a ton of sellers. And then they launch a product using AliExpress with a very low minimum order, like less than 500 units. And I think their first couple they did with less than 100, 150 units. Definitely check out that episode if anyone is curious about that. That would be episode 291. Really good episode. A lot of great actionable advice. Also, going back to what I was talking about in the beginning, they had ups and downs throughout their journey, and they still had it. Even they had a couple of their products, they ran out of inventory right away, and then they might have had a hijacker, I think I remember right, and so they had some challenges, but they're still moving forward. And their first product, I think, was a flop. So definitely check out that episode, but just think about it for a second too, guys. Like, if you ever listen to any entrepreneurial story or someone that's started, from where they were and now where they are, there's always been those types of ups and downs. And anyway, I don't want to get off on that tangent again, but just to go back to your question, Ken, yes, it's a great strategy to get started. And you would launch that product non-branded in a sense, which is, again, you're kind of out there putting yourself out there where someone could hijack you. But in the same breath, if you're going after low competition stuff, the chances are probably less likely because people aren't looking at those types of products. But I think it's definitely a valid, strategy to do, and it's going to cut down on the risk. And then from there, once you do that with, like, let's say an AliExpress, or you pay more for that item right now, that when you start to sell it and you start to scale as far as how many you're going to be ordering at a time, you'll be able to cut that cost and reduce that cost by doing that. So I think it's a great strategy. Anyone that's listening and thinking about, doing this and not really sure if they want to go all in, that's a great strategy. So I would say I believe in that strategy, and I think that strategy can work for a lot of people. It's allowing you to test different products a little bit quicker, and then picking the ones that are winners and cutting the ones that are losers without really putting a ton into it. So I say yes to that. Thank you so much for listening to that episode of Ask Scott. Now, that was just a highlight from one of our full episodes where I generally answer 3 to 4 questions on a podcast. If you want to go back and listen to all of the past archives of not just the Ask Scott session, but all of the full episodes where I do interviews with top Amazon sellers, people starting from scratch and building a business, if you want to listen to any of those episodes, head over to theamazingseller.com and you can find all of that over there. You can also find details there on how you can ask your own question and get it aired on an upcoming Ask Scott session, and possibly see it here on YouTube or just on the podcast. All right, so definitely head over to theamazingseller.com. There's tons of resources over there for you to be able to build your e-commerce and Amazon business. So definitely go check that out. Now, I just wanted to remind you one thing before I let you go. There's a lot of information out there, and some of it is really, really good. What I want you to remember is you have to not just consume the information, you have to actually apply that information. So take this information that you learned here today and apply it to your business, and this way here you can get results. As my shirt says, I wear it almost daily. Take action. We'll see you guys.